Biblically Centered Kids.
Hello and happy Sunday to everyone. Today is June 9th, and my name is Mr. Johnny. I hope you've been having a great weekend so far. How's your Sunday been? What did you learn about at church today? I always find it's important to talk about and share the things you're learning. It helps commit it to memory so you don't quickly forget. Do you remember the phrase we talked about a few weeks ago in regards to taking notes? All right, here it is. Note takers are world changers. We've been talking this week all about stewardship. You know, oftentimes we're given the opportunity to steward our time. And I think one way we can steward our time is to take our time at church and learning about God seriously. You know, you got to understand God wants a relationship with you, and He wants to talk to you daily. But what do we know about the devil? Well, anytime we get a good word from God, the devil, he wants to come in and quickly choke it out and either convince you it's not true or distract you enough to forget what was said. Remember a few weeks back when we talked about the parable of the seed and all the different types of ground the seed gets thrown on? Well, we want to be good ground, ready to receive. And one way we can do that is to be intentional in wanting to commit what we are learning to heart by taking notes. Even if you're the only kid in your class at church taking notes, my encouragement is just to do it anyways. Get yourself a cool notebook that's unique to you and your favorite pen, and then just take notes. And when your teacher or pastor says something that's important or something that speaks to you, just jot it down, and then you can review your notes from time to time, and you'll be amazed at seeing how God talks to us through His Word and through people on a regular basis. So say it with me one more time. Are you ready? Note takers are world changers. All right. Today is our Sunday draw along. And like in the story of the parable of the talents, we want to use the gifts and resources and talents that God gives us to serve others. So we're going to do a drawing to help us remember that whatever we have, whatever our gifts are, whatever our resources are, whatever talents we have, any of that, we want to use it to serve God and to serve others. So get your paper, your pens, your pencils, your markers, your crayons, your colored pencils, your grandma's pet hamster, and get ready for our draw along. Okay, not really the hamster unless you actually think that's going to help you. All right, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Go get your supplies, and I'll see you right back here. All right, you have your supplies? All right, well, we're going to do our drawing on our paper vertically, okay? So have your paper long ways up and down, all right? And then at the top of the page, we're going to write out the verse 1 Peter 4:10, which says, use whatever gift you have received to serve others, all right? I'm going to write mine out in bold letters, but I only want it to take up maybe the top 1/3 of my page, all right? So I still need the majority of my page for the drawing, so be sure to leave plenty of room, okay? But I'm going to help us spell it out. So at the top, the first line is going to say, use whatever gift. So that's U, S, E, then a space. Now we're going to spell out the word whatever. So that's W, H, A, T, E, V, E, R. That's whatever. Space. I'm going to write gift. G, I, F, T, that says use whatever gift. And then under that, I'm going to write you have received. You spell that with Y, O, U, space. For have, we're going to do have now, which is H, A, V, E. All right, then another space. We're going to spell out received, which is R, E, C, E, I, V, E, D. So my first line says use whatever gift. Second line says you have received. And then the third line is going to say to serve others. So first word is to, which is T, O, and then a space, serve, S, E, R, V, E, that's serve, now space, others, O, T, H, E, R, S. All right, so it says use whatever gift you have received to serve others. Now I'm going to write the verse underneath it. So it's 1 Peter 4:10. So that's 1, and then a little space, and then we're going to write out Peter, P, E, T, E, R, 4:10. 4:10. With a little colon in between. All right, so now it says use whatever gifts you have received to serve others. And I'm just going to box that in maybe with some bold lines around it just to make it look like it's, in a little box at the top. Draw those lines all around my words. All right. So now what we're going to do with the rest of your page is I want you to draw 9 circles, okay? 9 circles. Essentially, you're going to do 3 rows of 3. So you're, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you kind of want them all to be about the same size, and about the same spacing and that sort of thing. So just keep that in mind as you draw your circles. I'm going to draw my circles now. 1, 2, 3. So that's my first row. Second row, 4, 5, 6. And now my third row. 7, 8, 9. All right, now I have 9 circles on my page. And we're going to fill in each of these circles with maybe a different interest, a different gift, different talent, a different resource. These are all reminders of things that we have or gifts that we use to serve God and to serve others. And now listen, I'm going to be drawing 9 things. If you feel like there's something else you want to put in here, that's great. It doesn't have to be the things that I'm drawing. If you're like, that one doesn't really apply to me, I'm going to do this instead, you do that. This is open-ended. You do not have to do everything I do exactly. But I'm going to get started. I'm going to do with my middle circle first, okay? And because we've been talking this week all about stewardship and using the resources we have, I'm just going to draw a dollar bill in the first circle to remind us that the money we have, we need to be good stewards of. So I'm going to draw a dollar bill, which is, of course, just a rectangle. And then I'm going to do kind of like an oval shape in the middle of it. And then you can just kind of roughly draw, like a face in there. Kind of like a presidential looking face in there. A little nose and a smile. He's looking kind of stoic, so his eyebrows are straight. All right, so you got a little guy that doesn't have to be perfect. You're just representing money. And then I'm just going to do 2 dollar signs on each side, just to keep it simple. All right, so I got my dollar bill in the middle. Perfect. All right. Now, maybe for you, maybe a gift or a talent you have maybe is writing. So I'm going to draw a paper and a pen, and the paper is going to be behind the pen, so I'm going to draw the pen first, and this is going to be my very first circle in the top left. So I'm going to draw the pen, which if you have a pen, you can just kind of look at it and try to copy it, but it's essentially, a long cylindrical shape. That stops, and then you can draw the point of the pen where the ink comes out. You maybe draw the little clip thing that's on the side that helps it clip to things if you want. So that's a pen, and then I'm going to draw a little piece of paper behind it with some squiggly lines like you've been writing on it. So maybe if you like to write, maybe you can use your talent to write stories or to write kind letters to people. All right, next we're going to draw an open book. So we're just going to go right next door to the next circle and draw an open book. So for me, when I draw an open book, I just draw a little line down the middle. And imagine kind of like a thicker book that's just open, laying open. The pages kind of make like that arch kind of look. So at the top of my line, I'm just going to draw a little arch coming out from the middle to the right, another arch coming out from the middle to the left, and then draw those lines coming down, and then arching back to the middle, arching back to the middle. So it kind of looks like an open book. And you can draw some lines on that so you know that it's an open book. If you want to draw just like just a rectangle kind of a little bit behind it to represent like the cover of the book, you can do that. Does it look like an open book to you? And you know what? Reading is a very important thing. And that's a great way that we can learn, we can grow our minds. And of course, we want to be spending time with God each day in the Bible, learning more about his character and what he has to say to us. And books, these are great resources that God has given us. The Bible, of course, is the most important resource that God has given us. And we need to steward that well. We need to make that a priority in our daily life. All right, next we're going to draw a flower, like a flower in a pot. So I'm going to draw my pot first, which is just a trapezoid. Man, I'm a little rusty on my shapes. You guys probably know more than me. But it's a four-sided shape, but it's not necessarily a square. The two sides kind of come in a little bit. And then I'm going to draw a flower coming out of it. So however you like to draw flowers, I draw mine with just a circle in the middle and the petals coming off of it. And then the stem going into the pot, maybe some leaves. And that's just a reminder that God has called us to steward the earth. We want to make sure we're caring for the things that we have, whether you have a garden in your backyard or just in general, doing things like not littering, not throwing our trash out on the ground, those kind of things. We want to make sure we're taking the right steps to care for those things that are in front of us and the earth around us. All right, do any of you out there like to cook or like to prepare meals? Well, the next circle, we're going to draw a bowl and a whisk. All right, so I'm going to draw my bowl on the left. Pretty easy, just that normal bowl shape. And then I'm going to draw my whisk. Have you ever seen a whisk before? Maybe what your mom or dad or you use to whisk up some pancakes. So I'm going to draw the base of it, which is just kind of like a cylindrical shape. Kind of comes down like a long U and then just flat on the top. And then the whisk, you can just draw almost like you're drawing like a balloon sitting on top of it, coming up and around. And then just draw a few lines from the top coming down and meeting at the base to kind of let you know that that's a whisk. In cooking food, they say that food is a great way to get to people's heart. Cooking meals for others is a great way to show love. It's a great way to show warmth and care. Whether you're making a meal for your brothers or sisters or your mom or dad, or you're just helping around the house in the kitchen, helping make a meal for your family, or maybe you have the desire to make a meal and share it with someone at school or a neighbor, cooking is a great way to really show care for those around us. All right, next we're going to draw any artist out there. We're going to draw a paintbrush. So very similar to the pen. You can actually draw it the same way as the pen, except we're not going to draw the tip the same. So just draw the base of your paintbrush. And now the bristles of the paintbrush coming out. Kind of makes like a teardrop shape. You can maybe draw some paint on the edge of it, maybe some paint dripping off of it. And this is a great reminder that, some of us have a little bit of an inclination towards art and those types of things. And art, which is, art comes in a lot of various forms. You can use art to really paint pictures that represent God or the things that God is teaching you. There's a lot of great Christian artists out there. You can have your parents help you look up and see the artwork that people do. But art is a great skill. And of course, it might be an interest of yours, but it takes time. So if art and painting and those types of things are an interest of yours, just give it time. Maybe take some classes and really see what God can do through you through art. What about music? Anyone out there music fans? So we're going to draw a piano. Just a few keys. So actually what you can do is you can just draw a rectangle in the middle of your circle. Mine's going to be kind of sideways. And now I'm going to draw the black keys. So we're going to have 5 black keys on ours. So I'm going to draw if you ever seen a piano, they're grouped in 2 and 3. So I'm going to draw 2 kind of close to each other, coming down. They don't go down the whole way. They go down about 3/4 of the way. And then a little gap, and then 3. And you can color those in black, so you know that those are the black keys. And then, since your black key is like a rectangle shape, at the base of it, just draw a line coming out to the bottom of the piano. And then in between the 2 and 3, draw a line in the middle, and then complete your lines coming out of the middle of the black keys. And that should kind of look like a little section of a piano keyboard. And of course, we know that we can use music all throughout the Bible. There's lots of instances of people using music to sing songs to God. Obviously, at church, we like to sing songs and hymns to praise God. And there's a lot of different artists out there who write music to show their worship to God and to lead other people in worship. And so there's a lot of different avenues that music can take you to glorify God. All right, next we're going to draw a telescope. Have any of you guys ever used a telescope? So in the middle, I'm going to draw a square, just a small square. Doesn't need to take up a lot of space, but kind of have it like it's pointing towards the sky. Once you draw that square, then attached to the back of that square, I'm going to draw a little bit smaller square. And then after that, a little bit smaller square. And that little square right there is kind of like the eyepiece where you're looking. And then this is going to be kind of set up on a tripod. So I'm going to draw 3 legs coming out of the base of my telescope. Like it's pointing to the sky. And then you can draw some stars above it. Looking to the stars, there's people out there who make careers out of that. And the universe shows us a lot about God. Even in the scripture, there's a lot of times where people are mentioning looking up to the heavens, looking up to the stars. And, there's a lot that God displays in his glory and his goodness in the sky. All right. And lastly, we're going to draw a fish in a fish bowl. Pretty easy. So just draw a bowl shape, like a fish bowl shape, which is kind of like a circle. But at the very top, you can kind of just flatten it out. Put a little rim on the top, and that's a little fish bowl. At the very top, you can draw some water lines so you know that this is water. And then just draw a little fishy inside. So do his little body. Give him some tail fins. Give him one eye and a little smile. Just like kind of like a goldfish look. You can maybe give him a fin on top, a fin on the side, maybe a little fin on the bottom. And that can be your little fishy. That could be maybe you have a talent or a gifting to care for animals. That's a great big opportunity in the world. There's lots of people out there who spend their entire lives caring for animals. There's a lot of animals that need love and attention and our care. And so maybe that's an interest or a talent or a gifting that's in you, is to care for animals. So like I said, this isn't a all-encompassing list. This is just a few examples. You might have an out there example that does not fit in the 9 circles that we drew today, and that's fine. Whatever your interests are, you draw it in there, you make it how you want it. But just let this be a reminder for us that we have gifts, talents, and resources all in our life that God put in us that we can use to glorify Him. So how is your drawing coming along? Have you finished it? If you need more time, feel free to take as much time as you need. And once you're done and it looks super awesome, that's when you break out the colors and really make it pop. And once it's done, I say you keep it in a safe spot so you can always be reminded about how we can use whatever gift, resource, and talent we have to serve God and others. But I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. Thank you so much for listening to the Biblically Centered Kids podcast this week. We have a new batch of episodes starting tomorrow. Moving on to Virtue X, which says... Oh, sorry guys, someone's at the door. Hello, who's there? Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, guys. Well, I've been instructed not to talk about Virtue X until tomorrow. So, please come back and join us tomorrow for our next week as we dive into Virtue X. Until next time.